Quotes: Walter Payton. I want people to remember me like Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, always giving it your all, always doing your best. Walter Payton was one of the greatest running backs ever. Um, Probably in my top five backs for me. I always held him in high regard. His nickname was Sweetness, but it was nothing sweet about how he hit hard. He played hard. He was physical, and he wouldn't go down. He was endured. I think the saddest thing for me is that he didn't get a chance to get in the end zone to score a touchdown when the Bears won that Super Bowl against New England uh, back in '86. That's crazy when you think about that's been 40 years ago. That January, that time, that was a dominant team. But he was every bit of Chicago sports. And you do know there are still people in Chicago, despite Jordan's 6 rings and everything, that still hold him as the face of Chicago sports to this day. Because that respect and how hard he played was no joke. Walter Payton was the truth. And when you see a guy like that, you know he was about it. He gave you everything he had. He left nothing. Some guys you feel like, did I get all of it out of him? You never had that question about Walter Payton. He was the truth. He was the business. He was the real. He was the truth. So when I um, saw this quote, I said, well, yeah. I said, that's a good comparison. He really did eat, drink, and play football like it meant everything. He was feisty. He was tough. He ran hard. You couldn't stop him. And he had garnered your respect. There are guys that you look at and you kind of look at him and you kind of like, okay, he's going through the motions. He's this and that. I never felt shortchanged with Walter Payton. I never felt he just had, and he was strong. He had a burst. He had a way about him that left a lasting impression. So, um, he was one of the best to ever do it. And I like that he was using Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle's alter ego as a way to, talk about what he was about because it showed that he had respect for the game and for other athletes. And he recognized a guy who went at it hard to be the best he could be. And whatever was lacking, maybe for some other backs had this, some others had that. You ain't going to outwork him. And that's the thing I admired about Walter Payton. You weren't going to outwork him. So I definitely had a lot of respect for him in that reality, that totality. So this was a very cool quote, and he's one of those people that definitely lived up to the hype and left a lasting impression, a lasting mark. So just wanted to take the time to kind of like talk about him and what he meant to the game and what was his whole purpose. Because again, you're talking about somebody that truly was one of the best to ever do it, and he definitely left a lasting mark. hmm When you thought about Walter Payton, you knew you were seeing one of the best to ever do it. So he embodied that. He really did the whole nine. So that's a good quote, and that's a good person to quote yourself too. You know, Greats, very strong, demanding, one and all. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. Share if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, stay true. And I'll be back again 100 on that. Appreciate everything on that. And yes, Walter Payton was somebody, if you didn't know about, look him up. All right, I'm out. Peace.